Ah, yes, the wonderful world that is biology. Try teaching biology, it's hard enough as is. Tell a group of teenagers what phagocytosis means, and you'll just listen to them laugh at the name, and then probably try to turn it into an insult, whereas you're trying to get through the whole this forms a food vacuole where lysosomes go in, digest the thing, and it gets blorped into the rest of the cell. Repeat this for like 6 periods a day, and you're done, and you're just exhausted listening to the same pattern over and over again. But there's a part of the curriculum where everyone seems to have an opinion, and it's the bacteriology and virology parts. Not the parts about fungal infections, because you know these kids get athlete's foot and they have it treated with antifungals. But it's the bacteria and the viruses that gets everyone up in arms. After all, everyone's been sick. Everyone needs to have an opinion, especially when it comes to medicine. And heaven forbid you mention vaccines. And heaven forbid you mention the awful diseases like polio, which is almost eradicated, and smallpox, which is eradicated. Say that they were eradicated through mass vaccination efforts? Nope, someone is going to get into your face, probably someone who runs an HOA, to scream at you about how her son was a genius who was ruined by vaccination, and that's why he's taking your class, and how you were paid to teach actual science and not government propaganda. Well, let's see some anti-vaccine tripe from r/vax happen and see our brains rot in our skulls and fall out of our ears because they are bad. We're off to a stupid start because this post posits that vaccines have made male DNA enter girls and therefore it causes gender confusion. No, you idiot sandwich. This is not how this works. We are not bacteria which can randomly uptake DNA through transformation. It's a useful feature when forcing bacteria to make random chemicals for us, such as insulin. If we could randomly uptake DNA, that would cause some problems for us. Getting a splinter would be a completely different issue because not only do you risk an infection of the splinter, you also get the whole bacteria entering your cells thing. Hell, a bite from an animal, like this dog right here, would not only carry the risk of infection, but also the risk of a mutation. You seriously want to turn into a werewolf? Okay, I know people do exist and who do want to LARP as a werewolf, but come on. You really want to shed everywhere? Then again, we know that people do exist where they want a hypoallergenic, non-shedding werewolf, and But the whole werewolf thing aside, there's a few problems here. We had this concept of discriminating from self to non-self on a cellular level. That's why, when you have an organ transplant such as a liver or kidney, you end up taking a battery of immunosuppressant drugs, because even a close match will have issues with being accepted by your body, because your body knows what self is from non-self. Unless you have a clone like an identical twin or a specific organism that can mimic your cell's surface protein patterns in order to trick you. So, this whole vaccines causing gender confusion bit is just stupid. Considering that people do believe this, and we have forms of vaccines such as the mist form, I'm just really baffled by this idea. Do these people also believe eating foreign DNA would also cause gender confusion? Because, we have specific enzymes dedicated to ripping apart nucleic acids. I am not sure what these people are getting at. Then again, they are not sure either, mainly because they have no training in biology. They don't even know how to read a scientific journal. So, next one. We're going through Casey Means tweets. Casey Means, if you don't know, is Trump's new pick for the Surgeon General. Surgeon General. You don't want someone like this to be an idiot. So, Casey Means writes, glucose as a molecule has done more destruction of the human mind and body than any other substance in human history. Well, I'll give it this. Glucose is the primary fuel of the human body, including the brain, to the point that we have evolved processes to give us the ability to break it down and backward synthesize it. You can't do stupid stuff if you have no energy to do that stupid stuff, such as write anti-vaccine nonsense here on Twitter. This is such an idiotic sentiment. I cannot begin to see why a doctor would believe this. This isn't even something you learn in undergrad. I teach glycolysis to my freshmen and my sophomores. My anatomy and physiology counterpart in the junior and senior years teaches gluconeogenesis to them. This woman has no idea what she's talking about, and she's using her MD as a means of grifting from other people, and now she's going to grift her way into the position of the Surgeon General, because of course that's going to happen. Of course we're going to put another conspiracy theorist on the whole everything. Why not put another conspiracy theorist in Health and Human Services? This one is about how this lady's mom was slicing potatoes with a clean kitchen knife and ended up cutting herself, and she won't get the tetanus shot. Okay, you can't have it both ways. The knife is clean, you haven't started cutting with anything yet. Or the knife is dirty, because the knife cut food. You can't have it both ways. You will get that knife dirty when you start cutting. This is why you don't cut meats and you cut vegetables at the same time with the same knife, because cross-contamination happens. Unless you clean it between cuts. Also, potatoes are root vegetables, and I thought Clostridium tetani lived in dirt, so I can see why the doctor would recommend a tetanus shot here. This is a post about how tetanus can't survive in blood because blood is oxygenated, and Clostridium tetani is a obligate anaerobe. Where do I begin with this? First, let's distinguish between an obligate anaerobe and a facultative anaerobe. Obligate anaerobes can't stand oxygen and will just flat out die in it. Facultative anaerobes can tolerate the oxygen. They can use other mechanisms, such as in oxygen-poor environments, they'll just ferment. In oxygen-rich environments, they hate it, but they can live in it. Obligates, again, no oxygen. I get to be pedantic about this because I teach biology for a living, and Clostridium tetani does not survive oxygenated environments. True, but let's not forget. Clostridium here can form spores, which can survive oxygenated environments for long periods of time, even though they are metabolically inert. There are a lot of movements in your body, and not all parts of your body are oxygen-rich. They can get carried to an oxygen-poor environment, or in the case of a stab and cut, they can get transplanted into an oxygen-poor environment that way. And once the spore detects, okay, oxygen levels are low enough that I can survive, they can enter a level where they become metabolically active again. They can produce toxins, they can paralyze you, you die. This one is a fun one. So this parent believes that this smelly Swedish herring, when rubbed over the human body, will prevent the measles. The logic is simple. This thing smells repulsive. So repulsive that they'll socially distance 6 kilometers away from you just to get rid of the smell. By that virtue, it prevents teen pregnancy. Because if you're 6 kilometers away, good luck getting pregnant. See, I know this is satirical, but knowing anti-vaxxers, some of them will try this. Noted human trafficker and noted idiot who lost a fight with Greta Thunberg says he doesn't sleep with vaccinated women. This is the best sales pitch for vaccines in the history of sales pitches. And their competition is the measles and smallpox and polio. Jesus wasn't vaccinated, says this anti-vaxxer. He also didn't use social media sites like Facebook and Twitter. Honestly, emulating monasticism might be good for these idiots. This is a conspiracy post that goes, I'm not anti-Semitic, but you can end it here. This one goes, Dear Christians, the vaccine contains a bioluminescent marker called luciferase so that you can be tracked. Read the last book of the New Testament to see how this ends. It baffles me, it really does. They believe that luciferase is some nebulous thing when it just has to do with bioluminescence. Also, how does this track you? Are they using special invisible cameras to do this? Also, you don't randomly uptake random proteins and DNA. That's not how this works. We're not, we're not bacteria. And also, proteins don't carry genetic information. Are they thinking this is some kind of prion disease where a misfolded protein alters other proteins, but instead of doing what prions do and just turns your brain into sponge, it turns you bioluminescent? Also, fun bit of trivia. Jude Thaddeus and Judas Iscariot have the same name. It got split into English as Jude and Judas, when in reality they're both the same name, Judas, or Judas, as you may. It's why many Catholic prayers mention Jude Thaddeus as bearing the name of the traitor. Also, St. Jude Thaddeus is the namesake of St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital because Danny Thomas was a Maronite Catholic. And of course, St. Jude Thaddeus is the patron saint of lost causes and desperate situations, which, yeah, if you want to name a research hospital for dealing with cancer at the time, the patron saint of lost causes and desperate situations is probably the best person to name that after. Now, back to our main programming. The general luciferase panic makes no sense to me. I mean, this one says, or luciferase, which is known as an enzyme that is in the corona vaccine. It's demon DNA. Once in you, will disqualify you from ever having a chance at entering heaven again and being cursed with eternal torment just as the Nephilim and fallen angels are. Yeah, the general panic around this is so baffling. I mean, demon DNA, really? If we found out demons had DNA, you would think some lunatic would try to clone a demon? Also, what happened to the whole greatly sinned in my thoughts and in my words and what I've done and what I have failed to do through my most grievous fault? I mean, I think that is more disqualifying for heaven than having the wrong DNA. Ugh. This makes no sense. Another thing that always baffles me is whenever someone says, germs aren't real, here's my theory, and then peddles a theory so bad like bad air or miasma theory or terrain theory. I mean, these fought germ theory years ago, and germ theory has always won out. You've lost. So here's one of the richest men in the world. I say one of because I'm not sure how much money he's lost, but I'm sure it will hurt his ego, who weaves two contradictory narratives here. There's a contradictory narrative with COVID. Either COVID-19 is a super deadly bioweapon created by the Chinese in order to destroy America, or COVID is just the flu and you can shrug it off. You really can't have it both ways. It's also my problem with the whole it's an invention of the Democrats to steal the election bullshit. Because if it was, it's really stupid because, well, you're shutting down not only America, but other places in the world. Canada, Mexico, Germany, France, China. I'm sure that they don't appreciate that, so that's probably the cutting off your nose to spite your face when we apply this logic. Then again, cutting off your nose to spite your face sounds like a motto these anti-vaxxers would use. I love also how every single one of these anti-vaxxers decides to use, it's not microorganisms, it's the toxins. It's not non-living obligate intracellular parasites, it's the toxins. Let's completely ignore how the toxins are also produced by bacteria. If you ever go into producing antibiotics, prepare to be accustomed to streptomyces. These things are rather useful because they produce a ton of antibiotics. I'm assuming that you don't go into producing synthetic antibiotics. Also, if you ever wonder what Botox is, it's just a diluted form of a toxin produced by Clostridium botulinum. Yes, the toxin that is from the bacteria that makes botulism. So, this person believes that vaccines killed the Pope. Where do I start with this? If you want your poison to be effective, it probably should kill in a few days or a few weeks, and not several years. It took him like 3 years to die. The life expectancy in Italy in 2022 was around 83 years. Pope Francis died at age 88. He also had the pre-existing condition of missing part of his lung. Just saying. That's just absurd to believe that the vaccine did him in after several years when he had multiple conditions beforehand that could have killed him. Hell, he caught COVID and had only one lung. That's more likely to kill the guy. I mean, I'm not even getting into past popes. He is running a country, for crying out loud, and the Catholic Church. John Paul II, he died at age 84. Pope Benedict XVI, he died at age 95. But remember, he retired. And I am sure his life would be much shorter if he had to actually run the country and the Catholic Church at the same time. Pope Francis died at age 88. That isn't exactly breaking any precedents. He fell between John Paul's age at death and Benedict's age at death. Perfectly reasonable that an 88-year-old man wouldn't be healthy to live much longer. This one is especially dumb. Did you actually test for lead or jump to this conclusion? Okay, testing for lead might actually be a smart thing, but that's probably the last smart thing on this whole list. Number 2, are your coops in your cell towers, solar panels, smart meter, or lithium-ion batteries? These emit harmful electromagnetic frequencies or dirty electricity that can interfere with the body and cause a lot of health problems. Okay, radiation has specific effects on the body. What is wrong with you? This isn't how this works. You literally can't just say the radiation. This isn't Marvel Comics. Number 3, did you experience the mysterious fog in late December, early January reported across America, UK, Europe, and Australia? Please research that and purple snow or snow that does not melt. What the hell are you talking about? Have your chickens been vaxxed or come from vax flocks within the past 6 to 8 years? mRNA is synthetic tech that can unlock DNA and cause disease. You don't understand mRNA, DNA, or vaccines, or just anything in general. Like, you are an idiot. People wonder why you had to take biology in high school, no matter where you end up. Maybe you'll end up in engineering, maybe you'll end up in business, maybe you'll end up in physics. Well, this is why. Then again, I don't expect you to pay attention because I have to yell at you to pay attention. Were you feeding Purina, TSC, or large commercial GMO feed? These are reported to have agents that may or may not include mRNA, plastic, heavy metals, hormones, endocrine disruptors. What do you think mRNA is? 6. Were you within 2 miles of any other farms that have poultry or waterfowl? This is believed radius for HN51 can travel through the air. At the end of this 8 bullet point list, this user goes, I'm not trying to defend Walmart or their products because we know China has been poisoning us on many levels for years, but I would hate for you to invest in a new flock and have the same problem. So, this person is willing to believe in strange fogs and mRNA causing diseases, but not anything else, or just weird electromagnetic vibes. This whole movement is based off the vibes, not the science, just the vibes. Okay, this post is from March 2025. Millions of COVID vaxxed will die within 5 years. You know, if the rollout started in 2020, 2021, it has been 5 years, and I don't see people dropping dead in the streets. I mean, my entire neighborhood is still alive. The only people who aren't alive were killed in vehicle accidents, although knowing the people who are in the anti-vaccine crowd, they probably believe that the guy died behind the wheel because of the vax, and then the car accident was chiseled in as the cause of death, or maybe the vaccines made the guy magnetic. Knowing them, they probably do believe that a car running a red light and getting T-boned, and not getting T-boned, T-boning a guy right in the driver's seat and killing him is to be blamed on the vaccines. Because why not? This is the world we live in now. Conspiracy theories all the way down. Physics is gone. This post is about new pet mRNA vaccines, which means dogs are somehow behaving more aggressively. Why do people talk about mRNA vaccines the same way people who were writing the Marvel comics during the 60s talk about radiation? This has been another episode of Madness. Please like, subscribe to the channel on Ko-fi. This is Cyril signing off.